My name's Ladybug, and we have things to discuss, so let's get into it. I have to show you guys something. I'm excited. So my whole personality revolves around the fact that I make music, and it's time for us to get into that. It's time for us to discuss. It's time for us to document. A big part of this channel for me is just experimentation, and fucking around and finding out, because that is my motto. Keeping up with the theme of this channel being like a documentation of my life. What have I been up to lately? What's been my little project lately? And lately, I've been letting go of everything I can't control. So my passion project of the past 2 weeks has been arranging a beat for my song Ebb and Flow. This is pretty much just a process video, so that I can become more proficient at this little music thing that I'm trying to do. And I'm excited. So the thing about song making is every song to me starts with a story. Ebb and Flow is a really important song to me because I wrote it at a really important time of my life, and I feel like Ebb and Flow was the first song that I wrote where I really started to like understand myself as a writer and write the way that I wanted to. It's definitely far from where I see myself ending up as a writer, but this, I think, Ebb and Flow is like the first song where I'm like, yeah, that's what I meant to say, and I said what I wanted to say the way that it needed to be said. And I think part of the reason that Ebb and Flow came out so naturally for me, it came out very concise. I feel like the reason it came out so clearly for me has a lot to do with the reason why I wrote this song. And so I'll play it for you guys. I'll play the original voice memo because it's, of course it started as a voice memo. It's a shitty little demo, the bare bones of a song. So I'll play it for you guys and we'll discuss. Now listen. Nobody's allowed to say anything. This, I'm showing you guys, I'm documenting the worst version of this song that exists. This is the worst version of the song that exists. It's the first version of the song that ever existed. And I want to document the transformation of the song. So in order to do that, I have to show you where we started, and this is a safe space. This is a judgment-free zone. I say that for myself because I'm a tough cookie to crack. I be mean about my music. I don't know why you seem to think my love for you is therapy. You don't know why I hate the way I feel with you always needing me. You're feeding up my energy, even though I never eat. I've been kind but I'm not weak. My father always said to me, nothing in this world will come for free. I raised my price and set new boundaries. I'm vibing at a higher frequency. If you can't afford me, you can leave. You want more, you want more, you want more from me. Free performances and an encore from me. And you think you can fill up a void with me, cause you see me embracing my royalty, and it makes you feel empty. It's jealousy, envy, to see me ascending and I'm done pretending. You're making excuses to sleep on your blessings and leech off mine. I've been letting go of everything I can't control, and now the only thing I know is everything that ebbs will flow. Lately I've been letting go of everything I can't control, and now the only thing I know is everything that ebbs will flow. before we're starting. Okay, so why did I write this song? Why does this song exist? I have to take you guys back to March or April of 2022 and kind of set the scene here. So I was at the tail end of like my sophomore year in college, and honestly it had been a terrible semester, like just so bad. I was having medication issues, I was having life issues, I had a crush on somebody who was nonchalant. It was not a good time. I was working at H&M, like there was just a lot going on. And the icing on the cake of that semester was somebody, I don't know who, I forgive you for this, whoever you were, somebody caused a fire in my apartment building. And you know, at first it was all fun and games, like I was like, oh, you know, the fire department's in my building, like it's gonna be fine, like isn't it hard to make up your mind when you lose it and your fuse is fireside? I'll be back in my bed by the end of the day, because like my room and my stuff were fine. Like I didn't even see a fire, like I was straight chilling, fully chilling. No, that is not what happened. I ended up losing my housing, and that was like a whole thing. They basically, my landlord was like, yeah, you're gonna have to find somewhere to live because your apartment, the whole building is no longer habitable. And I was like, oh, cool. And so I couch surfed for like 2 weeks. I was too stubborn to move into on-campus housing. Looking back on it, I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking, but I wouldn't go to school housing. I couch surfed for 2 weeks, and then I fully was like, let me just go home. Let me just go back to Georgia, where there is, you know, heat, running water, a bed with my name on it, all of my things, my family. I'll be safe and unbothered. And so that happened. And it was a little traumatizing. I think I like to pretend that it didn't have an effect on me, but I mean, I was, you know, I've lived a pretty comfortable life. I'd never been like, oh my god, I don't have somewhere to sleep, that whatever. So that happened. And so I went home. And already I feel like that sets the tone of my mindset during this time, where it's just like, oh my god, I have no control over the things that happen in my life. So that's layer one. But all of this happened still before I wrote the song. I was gonna completely forget to tell you about the poem that I wrote before I wrote this song. So let's back up. Before I left Boston due to this fire situation, before I fought with my friend, before this song was even written, I wrote a poem that plays with the same concept of just saying fuck it and giving up, but not in a way that is weak, but in a way that is a strength, surrendering to the ebb and flow of life and just being like, well, this is what it is. I'm not gonna fight it, especially when I know I can't win. I wrote a poem about that. I think I really could just sense that things were going downhill for me. I knew that my flop era was approaching. Fun fact though, I think recently I hit rock bottom. So it's all up from here. And I know I sound so much happier about that than I should, but me and the universe talk. Like, we got plans. Anyways, last year I took poetry classes. I was taking poetry classes. I'm a writer. So I took poetry classes. I fell in love. It was a great time. I was present for those classes more than I have been present for most things in my life. I've never been a punctual, truant human being. I was in the height of my poetry era, posting things and like whatever. Anyways, one of my friends, Josiah, does these house shows, runs a venue out of his apartment. Cool shit, great vibe, lovely human being, all of the above. Just, I love Libras, I really do. Anyways, Josiah was like, would you want to come read some poetry at my apartment 3 show? I was like, yeah, I would love to do that. And so, before this function, I wrote this poem because, I mean, I had poems that I read that of mine. On this channel, we should talk about my poetry more. I'm thinking it's gonna happen. Anyways, for the occasion, I sat down and wrote this poem, and I think this is my favorite poem I've ever written. I've written a lot of them. I think this is where, I don't know, I just think this is one of my best poems. And I love that this poem, I love that the essence of this poem carried on into my song. I'll read it for you guys. I don't think about this poem enough, and I want to read it to you guys. And it's just really related to Ebb and Flow as a song, and you'll see why at the end. It goes like this. Yin. Spin the block with me, and I will tell you all the things I think I know. Every time I swallow a black hole, or lace white stardust through my lungs, or drink a bitter bluish moon like morning coffee, I catch a constant cough and go coffin shopping amongst other things. The sheer force of black gravity decomposes me, and ripe reality whispers lowly in my ear. You want to know what your problem is? Your whole life revolves around you orbiting out of bounds and into delusion. Your common sense only works up the nerve to point out streaks on your silver platter. But child, there are gaping stains in your solar system, and you still hope doping up will fix it, don't you? This reminds me of my size. Small and getting smaller, like a dwarf planet, but despite NASA's depiction, the people rooted for Pluto. Maybe he's like me, perched perfectly alone on a tiny throne of my own at the end of the galaxy, unmoved by heaven, so raising hell, and building one stellar black hole in the center of my own fucking chest to tell me, lest I forget, that I am human and I am God. A universe of angels and brutes is housed in me, and such is the price I pay to feel this magic, to call it home. And such will be the greatest joy and harshest pain I will ever know. And so the only truth I claim to know is this: all that ebbs shall flow. Yay. I really fucked off on that one. Ooh. I will be writing a poetry book. I have enough poems for a poetry book. It's more just like I will be compiling a poetry book soon in my life. I have to get this music out of my system first, and then we can talk. I love that poem. I create things because they give me that feeling where it's just like, yes, I finally put all of that ick into words, and I feel freer because of it. So I went home, got my R&R, started healing from all of that bullshit. The semester ended terribly. Fire, apartment, lose your housing, it wasn't in my plans. But I fully just had to go with the flow and let it happen, and it's like, which is a hard lesson for me to learn because I'm a Scorpio. I like to be in control of things. I like to know what's gonna happen. I had planned on living in that apartment for like the rest of my college experience, and to just have that plan just yanked out from underneath me was like, man, very severely disappointing. But I went home to heal, and one of the great things about home is just you're surrounded by your loved ones, your family, friends. And so one of my really good friends from home was there, and of course if I'm home and they're home, then like we're gonna see each other, we're gonna hang out, like we're gonna be spending time together. And it was just really good to like reconnect, because I think anybody who's moved away for college or just like knows anything about having like a long distance friendship, it's not easy. Especially when you're like me and I have ADHD, so it's like I'm not always answering text messages, I'm not always available to call, and neither is anybody. Like, I don't know, as soon as high school's over, everybody gets really busy and it's just hard to like keep up in the same way that you were able to. It's like, dang, I miss being able to sit next to you every day in class and know when I was gonna see and hear from you. And so I'm also at the beginning phases of like navigating adult relationships with people who are not in my immediate zip code. But anyways, it was nice to come back home and be able to be like, all right, well, I'm back in your zip code. Like, we can fall back into the ways that we used to hang out. Me and my one really good friend in particular. And so that was cool. However, we kept hanging out and seeing each other, and I think slowly the both of us started to realize that we were hanging out, but things weren't the same as they used to be, which is, in my opinion, very natural. We had both grown up. We're in our 20s now, not teenagers. Like, of course, we're gonna be slightly different versions of ourselves because, I mean, life has been lifing. And in this particular instance, those differences weren't good. I'll spare y'all the details because they're simply not mine to tell. But basically, I was not able to be the kind of friend that this person needed me to be at that time, because I had just had a really traumatic semester. Beyond even just the fire, a lot was going on. I was in the process of, starting to take myself seriously as a musician and still feeling insecure about things, and just there was a lot going on with me internally that I don't think she knew about, because I'm a Scorpio, so like I'm more of a, I got it, I'll handle it on my own, and I'll come to you so that we can enjoy each other's presence. I don't like to bring my problems to other people. That's a flaw of mine, or not even a flaw, but a quirk of mine that I'm working through. Anyways, so I was showing up in a way that was just a little bit more reserved, because I was trying to understand myself and all of these things that I was going through. And I think she was kind of on the opposite end of that, where she really wanted, at least in the way I felt, was that she really wanted and needed someone who could show up for her more consistently and hold more space for her, because of the things that she had been going through. Yeah, I wasn't able to show up for her in the way that she wanted me to, because I was having to do extra work to show up for myself. And unfortunately for the both of us, that was not an easy thing to communicate. I think when she was saying, I need extra support right now, what I was hearing was, you're not enough of a friend, you're not good enough as a friend to me right now. and I can't say for sure because only she could really tell you, but I think when I was saying I can only love you, I'm loving you as much as I can, which might be less, honestly, she was hearing you don't love me as much as you used to. And that really sucks. It really sucks. I was very much not in a place where I could be reliable to anyone. Because I didn't even really know how to rely on myself. It's a process, you know? And so anyways, the ways that we communicated or attempted to communicate that to each other, very hurtful, I think, for the both of us. I know for me personally, I can be pretty mean, especially in the heat of the moment. And when I think about the way she made me feel, it was, to me, she would say things that were seemingly very innocent, but it aggravated me that she did not know that the implications of her words were much greater than what she was perceiving them to be. And honestly, I was probably really guilty of the same thing. I'm very much of the belief that it takes two people to ruin a relationship. Not that I think a relationship is ruined, it's very complicated, but I'm a proponent of sharing the blame. Because what else, like, that just makes the most sense. I feel like that doesn't even warrant an explanation. Anyways, so we, the tension was building up, and eventually it built up to like this just one conversation that we had in my room at back home, where it was just like, I felt like in order to I feel like neither of us were really hearing each other. I got angry and she shut down. And the little silver lining here in all this best friendship bullshit is that it taught me a lot of different things, and I'm a writer, and so when shit hits the fan, I write. I think especially just because when you have these like communication breakdowns, I'm drawn to writing because I can write all of the things that I feel like you couldn't hear, So that's what I did. I wrote a song, and I wrote it in this little journal that says just keep swimming, which I think is a little, I don't know, I'm very sentimental about that. Really, at this point in time, really trying to practice giving myself the love that I felt like I was really seeking in academic validation and friendships and romantic relationships. I was really just trying to fall in love with myself. And so when she asked for more from me, I was like, how can you not see that I've been loving everyone except for me so much that it's been to my own detriment? But of course you couldn't see that because, I mean, I wasn't communicating it well if she wasn't understanding it. So anyways, some of the things that I wrote down, my initial journal of what happened rhymes, which I think is funny because, so I mean, I don't usually journal with the intention of rhyming, but sometimes it just happens, and it's like, well, basically these are my thoughts from like directly after the heat of the moment. And It goes a little like this. When did I become the enemy for taking time away to fucking breathe? Funny how the second I decide that I don't apologize for taking care of me, myself, and I, instead of catering to you, you feel betrayed and you assume I must have never cared. And it's not fair because I do. I still do. I just refuse to bear the emotional labor you induced on me before I knew how to say no. And I mean, it's kind of true. Sometimes people don't realize how much of an expectation they place on you. And sometimes we don't realize that we are taking on more than what we are capable of actually doing. And that sucks. I carried on saying, I know that everything that comes will go, and it's okay to be alone, because in some ways we all always are. It doesn't matter if you're near and dear to me or far. I'll never know quite how you think or how it feels to have your heart, but I know it hurts to love someone this hard. It hurts to lose myself inside your stars while there's a galaxy of my own that's begging me to love myself and come back home. And for my sake, I will never, ever tell myself no. And on the very next page, it just turns into lyrics. The very next page, it turns into letting go of what I know I can't control. The only thing that I still know is everything that ebbs shall flow. I mean, it turns into the first verse of my song, which is, I don't know why you seem to think my love for you comes easily, is what I started with, which I think is funny that I changed it. As you heard, I don't know why you seem to think my love for you is therapy. You don't know why I hate the way I feel you always needing me. You're feeding on my energy even though I never eat. I've been kind, but I'm not weak. My father always said to me, nothing in this world would come for free. I raise my price and set new boundaries. I'm vibing at a higher frequency, and if you can't afford me, you can leave. 'Cause lately I've been letting go of everything I can't control. And now the only thing I know is everything that ebbs will flow. I feel like it really captures the entirety of our exchange. Well, not the entirety of it. Really, it really, I feel like it really articulates my side of the story when all of this was happening last summer. The second verse is complicated for me because I actually feel a little guilty having written it, like genuinely. Just because I think it's a little mean. I tend to do that. I write songs in the heat of the moment and I look back and I'm like, Jesus, Skylar, you are kind of full of yourself. You're a little mean. You weren't wrong. You were dramatic though. You want more, you want more, you want more from me. Free performances and an encore for me because you think you can fill up a void with me. Because you see me embracing my royalty and it makes you feel empty. It's jealousy, envy to see me ascending, and I'm done pretending you're making excuses to sleep on your blessings and leech off mine. My parents both raised me to be humble. And so, you know, as I'm starting to take myself seriously as an artist, I'm aware that there's a certain level of self-confidence and pride that is just absolutely necessary, and I think like everyone could do with a little bit of a God complex. It's kind of fun. It I feel as if it keeps me from being taken advantage of. Hence the line, I've been kind but I'm not weak. People do mistake that. So I sound like my dad. And this song is written, I'm not changing any of the lyrics. This song is perfectly imperfect. However, I won't pretend like I don't have any lingering feelings about the way that it was written. And I guess my one critique of it, and I'm sure that this will happen to me again because I am who I am. But my one critique is I feel like I come off as if I think so highly of myself and not highly at all of the person that I am talking to, when in reality the exact opposite is true. And I think I tried to remedy that, or I tried to express that in the line, "You're making excuses to sleep on your blessings and leech off mine." And I guess I wish there was a line in the song that better articulated the fact that I feel like the person that I'm talking to is so blessed and highly favored and talented and loved and capable of doing everything, that they don't need me as much as I felt like they felt they needed me. And I don't know if that came across. I don't. But that's the main reason that the song exists. It's just, I needed to articulate just this imbalance that I felt there was in our relationship. And I feel like I did that. I feel like the song served its purpose. I feel like I come back to this song so much every time I feel myself trying to control things, every time I feel myself trying too hard to force people to be what I want them to be, force myself to be something that I'm not, or force a situation to be something that it isn't. I think about the chorus of this song where it's just like, nah, you really just gotta let that shit go and hope that for the best. Hope for the best. And I think just in general, that's such an important concept for me. Like, that's a life. This song and the fight that I had with my friend, all of it, this is a life lesson. Like, this is a philosophy of mine. Well, I didn't create it, but it's one that I've adopted and really internalized, and it's one that I feel like has made a very big difference in my life. From the poem to the fire to the fight to the journal entry to this song, it has been a long road, an emotional journey, and I am finally ready to craft this song and make it the listening experience that I'd like for other people to enjoy as much as I do. And that's why I'm making this video. I'm documenting that process. I'm learning as I go. I'm figuring things out, and I am, just, this song is one of my little babies, and I don't know, I want to take really, really good care of it. And this is helping me do that, and I don't know. Putting that out there is a part of the process. Releasing your creativity out into the wild is 50% of the thing, and having these videos to put out along the way, I think it brings me a sense of comfort for when this song inevitably comes out, because I will have physical proof that I did all the things that I could do, and I think I will have a lot to look back on and be proud of. Can we do a brief fit check before I go? Because I look positively emo. Anyways, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm so excited to share with you guys the rest of the process behind making this song. I've already started the next video and I'm just really excited to get more of these out there. But until then, stay safe, I love you, and I'll see you next time.